Recruiting is so, I think even now with NIL, it's so different now because kids want different things. When we were getting recruited, we just wanted to know that, hey, maybe we'll play and we'll get a degree.
Yep.
I mean, some guys didn't care about the degree. Can I play in the league? Can you help make it happen? Now with NIL, it's so interesting. Like, I couldn't imagine being 15, 16 years old and making money demands to a grown man, asking for more money than he's making in order to play at an institution. And I haven't even, I like started like 8 games in high school. Right. What do you think about the NIL that's going across the whole country
It's a different era, man. It's like you said, you know, what we expected as 16, 17-year-olds getting ready to go to college, it was completely different. These kids are making full-blown business decisions. And I'm gonna kind of spin off of this. Ohio State, Ryan Day, there were reports this past week that they spent $13 million in NIL basically to assemble the Avengers, like to put together their team. They brought some guys back who would have been draft picks. The big one, the Igbokwe kid, the receiver, who probably would have been a first rounder this year if he left. He comes back. You go land the number 1 safety in the portal. They get Will Howard, a Big 12 champ. They bring on Quinshawn Judkins, who Penn State fans just got the opportunity to know in the Peach Bowl. They build my bad, this is the truth. But they assemble the Avengers, and they put $13 million up. Ryan Day, the year before, said that in order for them to compete for a national championship, this is X amount of dollars, $13 million that we're going to have to invest to build this. They lose to Michigan again this year for the 3rd year in a row. Michigan goes and wins a national title, and what's Ohio State do? What's their collectives do? What does their alumni base do? They pour all these funds into building a super team. And whether you hate it, whether you love it, whether you think NIL needs to be banished, adjusted, wherever you're at on the scale, the reality of college football right now is that those who invest the most, those who not only are going to say they want to win a national championship, but put their money where their mouth is, are going to be the teams who are able to go compete for it. So, I say that to say, obviously Penn State's done a really good job in the portal for a few years now, but it's only continuing to get more aggressive, and people are going to build these super teams in the portal. It's free agency now. So my question is to the Penn State community, which I'm a part of, at what point are you going to get tired of being really good and want to make that transition to elite? And how many dollars are you going to need to put in to go make that happen? It's a question. It's a conversation. I'm not saying that what Ohio State and Ryan Day did is the right way, but it is the reality of college football right now. And it's an interesting point. These kids are coming out of high school with these expectations of, hey, how much money are you going to make me in year 1? How much money can you make me over 4 years? It's not just the NFL. It's not just the degree. It's become a business.
It's interesting when you look at, like, our perspective of how things are changing, too, in terms of NIL. Like, you see other schools, like Ohio State spent $13 million in a week to get these guys. I don't know how, where do you even get that money from? Like, how are you obtaining those funds through their collectives like that? I don't know, how we could – I don't think we could – pony that up, and I'm not saying that blame is on one single person. It never is. It's on a spread of different things. But I just find it sometimes hard to believe that we have the largest living alumni network, and we don't have the biggest endowment in terms of NIL. And the reason I say that is because we sometimes have the loudest boos than cheers at Penn State. When we lose a game, it's always, well, the reason we lost is because of this and because of that. But you're just watching from the TV, or you're just watching a play-by-play on Twitter from Audrey Snyder. You don't understand.
Shout out Audrey Snyder.
Shout out to you, and shout out to Mike Foreman, too. Yeah.
Mike Foreman.
All them cats, man. Better pictures of me on there, by the way. I don't like those, man. Yeah, his Dawkins needs some wall stuff, some art. So better pics out of y'all. But anyway, you need to pay players now. If you want difference makers, you want playmakers out of the portal, out of high school. It's not just selling them, this is Penn State. This is a degree you can get. Here's what we can get you to the NFL. Here's a great culture. That's not how it works anymore. It's not, and it won't. That's not going to change. It's never going to change at this point. And you can make the argument, oh, well, if they think like that, then we don't want them. Wrong. You want to win a national championship? You want to win a Big Ten championship?
That's the thing. They do. They want to go win. If we took a poll right now of every Penn State fan and we said, "What do you want from Penn State football in 2024?" The answer is going to be Big Ten championship. The answer is going to be national championship, or at least a playoff appearance. That's going to be nearly 100%.
Yes.
If you sent a survey out to the same people and asked if they believed whether or not it was the right or wrong thing to go pay players to bring them to Penn State or XYZ, I guarantee you that number is going to cut in half minimum. Exactly. The buy-in isn't there. You mentioned that the alumni network is the largest. Mm-hmm. It is one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest. Somebody fact check me. It would make sense on the surface that Penn State is super duper far ahead in NIL, and they have all kinds of revenue and funds to pour into this thing. It doesn't seem like that's necessarily the case. And what I was going to say was that college football isn't just now becoming a business. When it was just about the large TV deals, when it was about coaches' contracts, there was a much smaller amount of people complaining about the nature of college football in the business. They still existed, but it has only gotten stronger now that we're talking about paying college athletes.
Yes.
College football has been a multi-billion-dollar business before we started paying the athletes, so don't act brand new now and act surprised that college football has become this way. If you paid attention over the last 10 years, you could have seen this coming. The next thing I'll say, and I'll move off of this topic. I'm preaching right now. My daddy's a preacher. It's in me. I can't help it.
I got comments too.
Let's talk. We got to talk about the budget that we're pouring into retaining coaches. I would encourage the fans who maybe don't know to go investigate what Penn State's budget versus Alabama, versus an Ohio State, versus Michigan when it comes to retaining coordinators and position coaches and people that you want on the staff to build out culture and to build a system that allows you to go win long term. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've had coordinators leave. We're replacing 3 this year, and I'm not sure what the reasons for leaving are, but you want to eliminate as much of that as possible. You want to keep guys in there. A guy like Manny Diaz, you're telling me you don't want that guy back continuing to build on that culture and that system that he has in place? There's real value in that. And all of those things, all of the dollars that get poured into this have to be evaluated in terms of how they stack up against the elite across the country. If you really mean what you want to say, and that's Penn State football going to win national championships and Big Ten titles.
And I'm not saying that I need everybody to fork up, every Penn State alumni to fork up their hard-earned money. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying give us money and we win or anything like that. All I'm saying is if you have serious complaints about us and our process and how we win and such like that, put your money where your mouth is, because that is a game changer, is NIL. NIL is a game changer. Do you want difference makers? Do you want guys that can change the game into play? They cost money. Not a little bit either. So if you want those guys, why didn't they get them? Why didn't they get them? Put your money where your mouth is. Now, people who just watch, the casual fan, whatever, do what you do. Keep watching, tuning in. See Nick Dawkins 53 at center. You know what I mean? Do what you're doing. But if you have complaints and you voice your complaints and you write death threats to Tyler Elzen on Twitter, put your money where your mouth is. Because you couldn't do it. But on to your next point, I'm sorry.
No, I think it's a valid point. And again, we can talk about NIL and just kind of how it's changed over time. But ultimately, the reality of the situation is at this point where we're at today and where we're going to continue to head in the future is that if you want to go get Jimmy and Joe, who run a 4-2 and they score 60-yard touchdowns and they make the offense more explosive and blah, 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 you got to pay to play. When you're watching the Philadelphia Eagles play and they go get A.J. Brown, it's not a question what his contract looks like because we understand what A.J. Brown brings in terms of value to the team. College football is the same thing in 2024.
Yes.
That's the reality of the situation.
And you say the argument, well, we're not paying A.J. Brown. The Eagles are. Well, that's the difference between college and pros. That's why this isn't pro football. You want to feel so part of this process, and that's what makes college so special, is that the fans and the alumni feel so connected to the university and connected to the team. Here's your job. Here's something you can do to contribute to the success of the team directly, which, take it for what you want it to be. I mean, I have my thoughts about certain things and how they're done and what I'll do when I'm done playing at Penn State and everything like that. But, I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. All I'm saying is if you're going to open your mouth towards my guys and my team and our culture, then be prepared to do something about it too. Because when we get called to action to do something, all we're going to do is put our head down and work harder. That's all we're going to do. Invest more time into the process. Invest more time into our bodies. We go ahead and fix it. Or we do everything in our power to fix it. But if you're going to complain and sit there and lay down on the couch and not do anything about it, you might as well just keep your mouth shut. That's just my personal opinion on it, though. And I'm not trying to call out any, Joe Schmo from over here and over there, but that's just the reality of the situation is if you're not going to do anything about it, just shut up.
Yeah, I think the bottom line here is we've been yelling.
Yeah, we have been.
I'm not mad at the Penn State fans. I'm not mad
Still
at the
love
Penn
you.
State administration. It's just a conversation that needs to be had because this is the circumstance that we're under. And everybody wants to go win, from Coach Franklin to the players, to the fans, to whoever it may be. Everybody wants to see Penn State win. Well, hey, bingo, 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 here is the obvious way to go do it and to go do it quickly. So if you want to do it, great. Let's see the results of that. And if not, then it is what it is.
Again, we love Nittany Nation. We still love you.
Yeah, it's all love. It's just a combo.
You see me at State College in the Waffle Shop, say what's up.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
This is the Lion's Den, man. In the Lion's Den, things get a little bit aggressive, and we have these conversations, and we're transparent. So this is what we do.